Good morning, good morning. It is Monday, the 3rd of June, 2024. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Hello to everyone in the chat, especially Plum Duff over there with my shiny shoes. We've also got Ian in the chat. We've got Johan and Billy and Ivan. Hi, Ivan. How you doing? Wow, Plum Duff straight in there with a £50 super chat. Blooming heck. Thank you very much. The legend that is Graham Hughes and his fantastic supporters, F the Tories. Thank you so much, Plum Duff. That is an outrageously amazing super chat. Thank you very much. Also, Paul Ewan has also put a super chat in already. Thank you very much for the super chat. Why not start as we mean to go on? Good morning. Good morning indeed. We've got 31 Blaze in the chat. We've also got Daily Blase, which is slightly different. Hi, Darren. How you doing, mate? Gallifrey and Ren in there as well. We've got Craig. We've got Alan the Inquirer. We've got Nick and Diff. One Angry Pagan. Hello, sir. We had a good chat last night after the show. After how we fixed Britain with Femi. If you haven't seen that, please look it up. Right, today we're going to be talking about culture wars. Because that's always fun, isn't it? So the Tories have done exactly what Neanderthal said they were going to do last year. When he said, you know, that when he was a Tory, this is after he was a Labour person, and then he was a Tory person, now he's a refuck person, and I don't know what's going to happen next. You know, he identifies as different people. That's fine. I'm all for political fluidity and gender fluidity. You can identify as whoever you want, as long as it's not hurting anyone. So yeah, maybe you shouldn't identify as a candidate for refuck or a Labour, a Tory person either. Anyway, so yeah, the Tories have decided to go after trans people, just as Neanderthal said that they would do, because they've got nothing left. They've got no real policies. They've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. They have an economy that hasn't grown in 17 years. 1.7 decades in old money. 17 years of no growth. It's always fun. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know how well this will appear on your screen, but you can. I want to get like a chart, you know, and draw our economy on the chart for people, and it will start here in 1997, okay, and then it will go to 2007 there, okay, and this is our economy, okay. This is 1.5 trillion, okay, dollars. This is US dollars. I'm sorry, it's a bit hard to write like this, and this is $3 trillion. So we're going to go from this point in 1997 when Labour got in. I hope you can see this. And we go up, and our economy doubles in size between those two data points. You can look this up on Google, not making this up. And then if I put a dot over here and put 2022, and you can look it up, and I'll put $3 trillion. That's what our economy did in those years. I know it went up and down a little bit, but effectively, that is the Tory legacy. That's our economy. Doubled under the first 10 years of Labour and has stayed exactly where it was ever since, although our population's gone up. So they've got nothing else. They have nothing. Nada. Zero. Zip. So they're going after marginalised members of our community, like trans people, because that's what sickos and psychos do. They go after the bullies, sadists. This is what they do. They go after vulnerable minorities, whether, you know, it's picking on a little kid in school who's working class, or maybe ginger, or maybe, you know, born of different ethnicity or a different religion. Go after them, yeah. And the mad thing is, and this is what sort of pains me in the whole stupidity of this, the people who are the most vile transphobes are generally people who would not do well in a society in which everyone is viewed with suspicion every time they go for a piss. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to say what we're all thinking, but you know what I mean, right? In 2016, a survey showed that 70% of trans people had had verbal altercations in bathrooms. 70%, and 10% had suffered a physical assault in a bathroom. Trans people are way more likely to be victims of crimes than commit crimes themselves. But the people who are doing this now with in the Tory party, people like Kemi Badenoch, who had an absolute mare on the interview circuit this morning. I don't know if you see any clips. I'll play one in a minute because it's quite funny. But Rishi Sunak, these people are not the people that should appeal to bigots, because if those bigots, if those not very nice people get into power, people like Kemi Badenoch and people like Rishi Sunak, who look like them, are not going to do too well in that society. Because have a look at those skinheads, dickheads, Tommy 10 names marching over the weekend. Loser Fox. They're all very white and gammony. Let's put it that way. Not too many ethnic minorities in there. There's a reason for that. Bigotry begets bigotry. But here's the thing. And I know we've talked about trans issues on this channel a lot. And it's Pride Month. And I think it's absolutely disgraceful that the Tories are once again trying to stir up this trans panic. Trans people are going to come and get you. And this nonsense about men are going to dress up as women so they can attack women. We live in a society in which a guy who has been found adjudicated by a court of law to be a rapist is very likely to be the next president of the United States of America. We live in a country where Russell Brand, a sexual predator for years, hiding in plain sight, they said, everybody knew. He got away with it. We live in a country where 1% of reported sexual assaults end in a custodial sentence. Less than 1%. And the Tories are letting rapists out of jail early because of jails are full of people, I don't know, climbing up bridges to tell people that the climate is changing and we really need to do something about it and it's an emergency. Putting people in jail for breaking the finger off a statue of a slave owner. Something that has a higher custodial sentence than most convicted sexual assaults. Because this is the priority for the Tories. This is the priority for the Tory party. And so we have this insane. It is insane. I know you shouldn't use terms like mad and insane and crazy and stuff like that, but God, I don't know what else to say. It's painful. But also, two things, right? First of all, this is exactly the same rhetoric, horrible rhetoric that we saw against the gay community, the bisexual community, the lesbian community in the 1980s, especially the gay community. Don't go into the toilets. The gay man will come and get you and do things to you. Watch out for public toilets. Gay men, hang out with them, cottaging, and they'll come and take you little Johnny away from you. And the gay panic also coincided with the AIDS pandemic. So it was double as horrific. Double, oh my God. Orders of magnitude more horrific. People were dying, and yet politicians, the people in charge, were looking the other way. They didn't care. They just said, oh, well, it's only gay people. It's only drug addicts. Well, and some haemophiliacs, and some people who have just had a blood transfusion. But apart from them. And the other thing is this, it's like when I see people like that Rowling creep saying horrible things online, and she went after a trans woman who, there was a good news story in like a local newspaper website that was like, this trans woman is a manager of a small team. And it was a good news story. It was just nice. It was just, well done. Well done to you. But no, J.K. Rowling has to come in there and go, that's not a woman. I decide who's a woman, and that's not a woman. And I'm like looking at it going, if it was up to other people to decide who was a man and who wasn't, and who was a woman and who wasn't, I don't know how you'd fare. Just saying. in that society? Is that the society that you want? But just take the word trans woman and change it. So instead of it saying trans, say black. Go on. See how far you get with that. Why don't you want black women to have the same rights as women, as white women, or cisgender women? Because statistically, I read that black women are more likely to attack you in a toilet. Are they? Do you have any actual data to back that up? No. It's just what I feel. It's the way I feel about it. Can you give me some scientific data? Well, look. There's more people who are ethnic minorities who are committing crimes. Look at that. Oh, so that gives you a right to be racist then? Yep, absolutely. Do you not think there might be a connection between poverty and crime? And if more people of a particular ethnic background are more likely to be born into areas of economic stagnation, to put it mildly, do you think that that might be more of a connection than their skin colour? No. The only thing is, I don't want these people using the same toilet as me. Oh, there you've said it. Apartheid. 1950s America. I don't want them using the toilet as me. I want a separate toilet for them. I want the whites only and the blacks only toilets. That's the way I want it. Why? Because black people are different to me and they might attack me. We can't assume innocence of black people, can we? We can't just assume their innocence. Yes, that's the basis of our law. You've assumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. That's for everyone, not just for the people that you like. And the people that you don't like, you don't count them. And the idea that men who are sexual predators are going to go, do you know what? I know there's only a 1 in 100 chance of me getting into trouble about this. That little brand stick insect creep has made loads of money over the last few months since the allegations of sexual misconduct have come out from dozens of women. It's not done his career any harm. In fact, he's doing all right. Now, the idea that they're going to go, do you know what? I really want to assault a woman, but I'm finding it difficult. So what I'll do is I'll go for gender realignment therapy, and I'll go on I'll go on hormone replacement therapy. I'll go to the doctor and I'll do all these things, and I'll get me gender recognition certificate, because then I can go into public toilets that I'm not meant to go into. Okay, so I'm going to sound really, really horrible here, and I'm sorry, and I know I've got a super chat to say. Thank you very much, Ivan, in a moment. But here's the fact, all right? If someone wants to do something horrible, things that are not going to put them off, all right? A sign on a door is not going to put them off. But you know what might put them off? It being a public place. Because you're more likely to get found out at the thing that you've done in a public place. That's why most murders happen behind closed doors. Most sexual assaults happen behind closed doors. Sorry, trigger warning. I should have said this at the start. Trigger warning. What I just said. Sorry, that trigger warning came too late. But the fact is, most people want to get away with their crime. They don't do it in broad daylight. They don't do it in a public freaking square because they're more likely to get caught. And most criminals, most people who want to commit sexual assault, they also want to get away with it. They're not like, I'll do this and I'll go to jail for 20 years. Ha! That'll show them. No. People do that. And yet, here we have a system where everyone is freaking out suddenly about trans people using the same toilet as them. Because something that was never a problem before, something that was never a problem until the media decided it was going to be a problem, until the right-wing press, the politicians decided we need a new thing to wang on about. Because we can't talk about the economy, because the economy hasn't grown in 17 years. Anyway, I'm just gonna go into the super chats. Thank you very much, Ivan. Thank you very much. I'm autistic, gay, and I have a combination of mental health issues. So because of the Tories, it's all stacked against me. Ivan, absolutely, you are right. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that you're gay. I'm not sorry that you're autistic. That's kind of awesome to be. But also, I am sorry that you have various mental health conditions, and the Tories are not helping. I spent this morning on the phone trying to get through to both our local GP and a dentist for an emergency dental thing, right? For one of the kids, right? For a kid, emergency dental, right? Needs to go and see the dentist quite urgently. Yeah, Friday. It's Monday today. We go in on Friday because the Tories have redefined what an emergency is. Thanks for that, Tories. I hate them. I hate them so much. Money Spider Central here today, or I have a very persistent roomie. That's from Califrayan Random, okay. Play it cool. I have a theory that J.K. Rowling got called trans at some point. I have that theory too. And I also think that maybe she wasn't. Maybe she wasn't, but she's reached a stage in her life where she's got the success, she's got the fame, she's got the money, she's got the accolades. She's the richest author in the world. And yet there's something that feels wrong with her. Like she's not comfortable in her own skin, or she's not comfortable, just being who she is and living and letting live. And she's become a bit obsessed with this. And I think it might have been self-imposed. I don't know. Or maybe someone said something to her. But I think in her head, I honestly think she's had a bit of a mental break, to be honest with you. I think that I think someone's done something really bad to her, and she decided to take that out on trans people, which is horrible because it definitely wasn't trans people who did that thing to her, whatever it was. But at the same time, I think she thinks that if trans people didn't exist, no one would think that I'm trans. Okay, weird way of looking at the world, but yeah, that seems to be it. And no one can now say, well, what she said that's transphobic, because she said a lot of really horrible transphobic stuff. Now she's just over the top. Just there's nothing stopping her. And yeah, she's one of these very, very rich, influential people with 14 million followers on Twitter, who can say whatever the hell she likes from her ivory castle in the sky, and no one can do anything about it. And it's horrible. I for someone that I used to respect as well, say the same about Graham Linehan. Used to respect him. He wrote Father Ted, one of the funniest comedies of all time. He wrote the Black Books and the IT crowd, and then it looks like someone in his family might have come out as trans. I'm not saying who. That's what it looks like to an outsider. Don't know. Please don't sue me. I don't know the ins and outs of it. What I do know is that his wife has divorced him and doesn't let him see the kids, or he doesn't want to see his kids. And apparently J.K. Rowling's pushed her family away as well. Her family and friends told her to calm down on the trans rhetoric. I mean, Elon Musk told her to calm down on the trans rhetoric, a man who's famously very, very transphobic. He had a trans daughter, and who doesn't speak to anymore. And after, having a trans daughter, he decided that he hated trans people, and he uses his crypto-funded bubble crypto bro nonsense money to buy Twitter for $44 billion more dollars than it was worth, and he uses it now as his personal little fiefdom to just put out the most horrific, homophobic, racist, misogynistic, transphobic garbage, unopposed. I get a community note on his own site. What a dickhead. Anyway, right, so moving on. Does anyone in the chat being rude or transphobic, I will delete them. They will be deleted, so don't do that. I think a big problem is the lack of knowledge between the differences of transitioning and identifying. It's all performative cruelty to play that toxic and frankly inhumane base. It is performative cruelty. It's sadistic. It's sadistic cruelty. to pick on an already marginalised group of people. And what they have done, and I'm going to come to the papers in a minute. I might show you the little clip of Kemi Badenoch being a dickhead. But they when it comes to the oppression of trans people, nothing typifies it more than this letter that was sent out to parents of children who are currently undergoing treatment for transitioning or nothing. There's nothing surgical going on, but it can be puberty blockers. It can be hormone treatment, stuff that is reversible, stuff that the puberty blockers just block your puberty, and then you get to a certain point and you stop taking it and you go through puberty. And cis children can still get that. Trans children cannot get that anymore. And they're not even just stopped it from... If you're already on a course, you can still get it. If you aren't, you can't start. But if you have gone private, as many parents have done for their children, because the NHS is so backlogged when it comes to trans medical issues or transitioning in general, they've gone private. They have to stop immediately. They have to stop the puberty blockers straight away. And apparently, if you are caught with these particular puberty blockers as the parents of a trans child, whether you bought them on the internet or off a dealer, they're threatening to take your children away. Do you know what else takes your children away? Your children unaliving themselves. Sorry, trigger warning. I should have said that. Oh, damn it. This whole episode's a trigger warning. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry you have to talk about this. I'm sorry that the Tories force us to talk about this. But I would much, much rather have a child who's trans, who's gay, who's lesbian, bisexual, or asexual, than a child who is dead. And we know that over 50% of young trans people attempt suicide. Over 50%. And what are the government doing? They're trying to make more of them. Succeed in that. Succeed in that. That's what J.K. Rowling wants. She went from creating a magical world for children to enjoy to actively trying to kill them. I'm sorry, but she can fuck off all the way to hell for what she has done. And for what other people with her same way of viewing the world are doing right now. Completely unnecessarily against an already marginalised community that aren't doing any harm. Oh, but they might. They might do something. Yeah, anyone might do harm. But they don't become representative of everyone in that community. Because that way madness lies. Because give me a list of all the black serial killers you know of. I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. Why don't we ban whitey? Why don't we ban white men from going out after 8 o'clock? Because they only commit crimes. Because the vast number of people who commit murders in this country, this is going to come as no surprise to anyone, are young white men. A young white men. Oh my God. Lock everyone up. Yeah, okay, cool. Just let women go out, and trans women. First IT, okay, it's like Ali McBeal. They are young. It's just why there is a robust process, including educated adult experts. And also the Tories have made it so that if you do decide that you want to transition, you have to go and see a panel of doctors. You can't just talk to your GP like you can for anything else and just say, yeah, I need this sorting. And it's funny because the same sort of attitude towards people who want to transition is also prevalent in people, the attitude towards them. I don't mean the people who are doing it, but the attitude towards people getting abortions in this country. We need to talk about how abortions in this country are still technically illegal in some cases. And there was a woman who, I think she got a custodial sentence for during COVID when you couldn't get hold of the morning after pill, whatever you needed, that they would She got it online. She got what she needed online. She already had kids. Didn't want any more. And yet she went to court for it because we haven't changed the law. Oh wow, Ivan, thank you very much, mate. That's a two. Ivan is so generous, and Plum Duff's given money, and just thank you so much. And Johnny Cophead always gives massive super chat. Thank you so much. Because of the Tories, I've now been left with no choice but to go private for my mental health treatment and care. I was paying £200 for each appointment with my consultant psychiatrist. It's now got up to £250 for each appointment. It's just foul, isn't it? It's absolutely foul what the Tories have done. And I'll go back to that thing that I often say, doesn't affect the rich. If you're swimming in money, if 250 quid is chicken feed to you, Boris Johnson said that £250,000 was chicken feed. £250,000 chicken feed. So what do you think about £250? That'd be pennies. Less than chicken feed. Chicken feed's surprisingly expensive, actually. You got 12 chickens. Cheer up, GE next month, says Helen Wilkes. I'm very, very cheery about that, I have to say. I thank you very much for the super chat. I'm just horrified that we've gone down this road, and I'm sick of having the same conversations with family and friends where they've read the headline of a newspaper or the Tory brief or whatever it is, and they've gone, oh, there's a problem. What's the problem? Trans people. Okay, what's the problem with trans people? They're trying to take over women's sports. Well, actually, there's no real evidence that that's happening. Has a trans woman won anything recently? No, but we need separate sections for different genders. Oh, is that important in chess? Yes. Is that important in Formula One? Yes, it's very important. I don't know why all the Formula One drivers aren't women. Because one of the things in Formula One is you're talking about fractions of seconds going around the track, okay? So the smaller you are, it's a bit like being a jockey on a racehorse. The smaller you are, the better. And unlike a jockey where you might need, particular strength, I don't know, women jockeys are there as well. But the idea that we have to separate our Formula One into male drivers and female drivers. And, oh no, there's a trans person and they're going to beat the female drivers because they're going to be able to drive. No, if they're heavier, they're going to take longer, aren't they? Aren't they? What? Do they have more muscle mass? I don't know. Like trans woman, what difference is it going to make? Driving a car. But yeah, we need separate categories for chess and archery and shooting. In the Olympics, women were winning at the shooting, so they separated out into two categories for men and women. Because the women kept beating the men. The men were like, oh, go, I'm coming all the way here and I'm leaving without any trophies. Oh. It's a war of our men, I tell you. War of our men. Oh, thank you so much to Flint Reed. Out, Tory scum. Yes, I couldn't agree more. And Captain Bart Roberts, thank you so much for the £10 super chat there. The same prejudices that were levelled at gay people when I was growing up are now being levelled at trans folk. Yeah, exactly the same thing that I heard growing up. I grew up under Section 28 when you weren't allowed to talk about... Oh, no, focus then. When you weren't allowed to talk about being gay to your teachers. They weren't allowed to say that was a normal thing. They had to pretend that it was completely abnormal and weird. And the only way you could find out about it was, I don't know, by going to a gay bar and picking up a man. No easing in gently there. Just. Also, when I was growing up, you had to be 21 to be gay. Whereas if you were, because, think about the children. Some of them are just confused. And it's like, people can make up their own minds about stuff. Especially especially once they're an adult as well. What the hell has it got to do with anybody else? What they do with their life, as long as they're not hurting somebody else. And Johnny Cophead, thank you so much for the £10 super chat there, Johnny. Conservative and Unionist Party, CUP. My sick mind is taking me in the direction of 3 bigots, 1 cup. I'm sorry, I'm moderately ashamed of myself. I had a little bit of tea there to finish, mate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it now. But thanks for the super chat anyway. Women drivers don't get the same opportunities in most sports. There are women drivers in IndyCar, such as Catherine Legg, but rarely get a decent car in a good team to be able to compete. Yeah, that's where the problem is. That's where the misogyny is. That's where the sexism is. In fact, sports, all of sports, generally speaking, are designed around the physique of a man. And that's why when women play tennis, they don't do as many sets as the men do. And then there's an excuse of, we'll give them less money then. Same number of people watching their matches. It's not like the women play in a smaller stadium and the men play in a big one. No. Oh, it's a ground, isn't it? For what's it called for tennis? It's not a stadium. You know what I mean? Court. Tennis court. It's like the other small. Venus Williams is playing now. But we're all gonna go. We're gonna move to the one next door because it's smaller. Because less people want to watch it. No, same number of people watch it. It's just it's bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And if you want to stratify sports depending on physicality, fine. But then do it like they do with boxing, where you have different weight classes. There you go. Different muscle mass classes. So that people who maybe aren't 6'10" can play basketball. How about you have a class for people who are 6 foot and under? Basketball tournaments. How about people who are 5 foot and under? Basketball tournaments. I mean, a lot more sports. There'll be a lot more sports. Tell you that now. Anyway, I'm afraid Tories' culture war is working to a certain extent because instead of discussing how awful the cons are, we are reiterating obvious points to all at present. That's a good point, Vax, but yes. This is what the Tories are talking about today, so I thought we'd smash it out. Oh, God, I've gone over time. I haven't even got the chance to show you this wonderful clip of Kemi Badenoch defending this Tory MP, this Tory idiot, who has put out things with his name on it, saying that he's standing for Labour. It's a bit confusing.
Improper, should we? Apparently, a Conservative candidate for High Peak in Derbyshire, Robert Largan, on social media posts on Saturday in red, Labour colours, saying Labour for Largan. And then in the Reform colours, he said Largan. Reform for Robert. But he is a Conservative candidate. Is that an appropriate way for your candidates to advertise themselves? Would you do it?
Well, I saw what Rob, who is a fantastic, certainly has been a fantastic MP, put out. And what he's trying to show is that people who traditionally would support other parties are actually supporting him. So he is saying that he is the candidate, he's a Conservative candidate, but he's the candidate that has the broadest appeal. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Would you advertise in that way?
Everybody has their own way of doing things. It's not for me to... Everybody has their own way of doing things. I don't speculate on how people do their own individual advertising or campaigning.
Okay, improper, should we? Apparently, a Conservative candidate for High Peak...
God. It's just painful, isn't it? It's just painful. It's not what I would do, but yeah, I think it's perfectly acceptable to literally put the other party's name on your literature for your campaign. Anyway, yeah, there was a point here about this from Bella saying how Labour respond to this though. It's very much how it's going to determine how I vote, because if they lean too close to Tory policy, I just won't be able to vote for them either. See, this is a trap, isn't it, that the Tories have set, and this is why we need to talk about it. If Labour fall into this trap of getting bogged down in cultural bullshit by the Tories, then you're going to have every interview with Keir Starmer is just going to be some horrible slug like Nick Ferrari saying, "Can a woman have a penis? Can a woman have a penis?" And you're just like, oh, fuck off. Just no. We need to talk about the economy. We need to talk about how we help people, not how we make their lives more difficult. But this does worry me. And Labour, I hope they have a good line on this. I know that they have already said that they want to make it easier for people who want to transition to do that and get a gender certificate. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Anyway, a couple of heroes on the front cover of the Mirror here. We've got Stormy Daniels at the top, who took one for the team, literally, of Donald Trump, and then managed to get him convicted on 34 felony counts. Ivan Ambrose. Hi, Graham. How do I access Discord? I'm paid up for it, but struggling to access it. Ivan, I will, if you're a YouTube member or a patron, I'm going to have a look at that after this, and I'll send you the link personally, okay? Thank you very much for the super chat, though. That's really kind. Thank you. yeah, anyone else who's having trouble getting on the Discord, let me know, and I'll make sure that you get a link. We're going to be using the Discord a lot more over the next few weeks in particular, but over the next few months, as we transition to actually thinking about what this channel is going to look like after the election, because I'm not going to be a mouthpiece of the government. Anyway, we'll come on to that later. And also the other hero being Rob Burrow, the rugby player who had motor neuron disease, same thing that Stephen Hawkins had, and he's died at the age of 41. Care agencies accused of exploiting foreign workers. That doesn't surprise me at all. Sex is a fact of biology. That's from the Daily Mail, who are all for science, except when it's climate science, and then it's all the boffins. They use the word boffins, don't they? Because they don't want to. Okay, mate. Labour plan for softer Brexit deal too ambitious. EU insiders warn. Anything. I'll take anything right now. Sunak, I'll change law to protect women's spaces. Like, they're under assault at the moment. They're under attack by nobody, by a fictionalized vision of someone in people's heads that's coming to get you, which is nonsense. In the Radio 4 interview this morning, this is off Ian. This is a super chat. Thank you very much, Ian. In the Radio 4 interview, Kemi said to create a chilling effect, very telling of how the Tories want to govern. Yeah, it's all deterrence. It's all sticks and no carrots. Tory vowed to end abuse of gender laws by predators. So that is literally a headline in a Murdoch rag, piece of shit Murdoch rag. Tory vow to end something that doesn't exist. You know, like Russell Brand and Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and Jimmy Savile and Kevin Spacey did not dress up as women to attack people, because you don't have to. You're just making it harder for yourself. And also, let's make the point that needs to be made about trans men. Trans men look like men. It's very difficult to spot trans man. So if you have to use the bathroom assigned at birth, you're going to have a lot of muscly, bearded men using the women's toilets. And if you are a sexual predator and you want to go in and to abuse someone in a public place, because that's a sensible place to do it, where anyone can walk in off the street. If you want to do that, instead of going through the hassle of buying a dress and a wig and putting on makeup and having a shave, just walk in as you are with your beard and say, I'm a trans man. Make a fake certificate that you've just printed out off a Word document. There you go. Sorry, I shouldn't really be giving tips to sex offenders here, but what has this country come to? Anyway, cancer rise in under 50s blamed on poor diet. Doesn't surprise me either, because the Tories have made it so that decent food is inaccessible for most normal people now, because they made it way more expensive because of their Brexit. Bravest man in Britain, that's Rob Burrow there, and also he's on the front cover of the Express. And PM pledges law to protect women's rights. Oh, that sounds nice. No, to demonise trans people. That's what it should say, but it's the Express, which is a rag. What can you do? The NHS failed to carry out any actions urged by Jimmy Savile inquiry. That's on the front cover of the Independent there. Diane Abbott, Labour veteran, will stand for party after row over her selection. I don't know what the hell has been going on about that. It all seems a bit crazy to me. Well, she just look a bit, yeah. She's got a bit of a Darth Vader helmet thing going on with her hair in that picture. Financial Times has got some robots on the front. And the Hand of Vlog, Russian behind Wembley chaos. This is about fans being offered £260,000 to invade pitch at the Champions League final. So the Russians messing things up for everybody. And not the Russians, sorry, the Russian government, the Russian state, they're Putin. Let's just say Putin. Right, I'm going to head off now. I've got 11 minutes over time. Phil will be back in the morning at 9:30 for Morning Brew tomorrow. Probably a bit less animated, but he does a very good. He does a very good job, and he'll be talking about whatever nonsense we need to talk about. So what the Tories are doing. I'm going to hopefully be back tomorrow at 7:30 for either Geoscope or another episode of Kicking the Privates if if Terry Christian's available. There's no show tonight. I was going to do a show, but instead I'm going to go and see Furiosa on IMAX with our friend Ben Chambers of the 16 Million Rising podcast. So I'm quite excited about that. Bella Flint, if we are moaning, it's usually because of the repeated attacks by the Tories and the complicity of Labour so far. Yeah, we need to talk about this a bit more fully, and we don't have time to do it now, but you're right. Labour are in a very unenviable position where the Tories want them to talk about X, and X has got nothing to do with making our country better. And the Tories are going to try and deflect any kind of debate or interview with any Labour MPs. They talk about trans issues instead of talking about the economy and education and healthcare, the NHS, the infrastructure of this country, our relationship with other countries, the EU. I mean, there's loads of other things that we need to talk about, but no, they're going to try and say, no, we should really be demonizing teenagers because of who they are. And it's a difficult one for Labour to skirt. And I think that they will probably just try and shut it down and say, well, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. They're not going to get to do it because they're not going to get elected. I really doubt there's going to be anything in the actual manifesto, in the Labour manifesto, that is violent, as violent, transphobic as what the Tories are proposing. But we'll see. The manifestos aren't out yet. But yeah, I'm just hoping that the culture wars are just not working. They don't seem to be working. They don't seem to get any traction. The Tories don't seem to be picking up any points in the polls. I just want it to be over. I just want the Tories out of office. I want them to just piss off forever. I want them to go and find a cave, seal themselves inside said cave, and stay there. The Tories have been against me. As a child from a single-parent family in the 80s, I was told I was part of the problem. This is from Cass. As a teen questioning my sexuality, they gave me Section 28, and now I'm trans. Yeah. You're exactly the kind of person that the Tories want to demonise because you're powerless in so many respects. And people won't step up. People won't step up and stand up for you because they're like, well, I'm not a single mum. I'm not trans. Why should I say anything? It's not my fight. Yeah. But then the people who aren't trans, who are very, very transphobic, they make it their fight. And so the trans community needs all the allies it can get. So, yeah, all I can say about this whole thing is just be kind and give people who are trans and gay and from ethnic minorities and from religious minorities, just give them all the love and support that they deserve as a human being who's done nothing wrong. Anyway, right. Perhaps they could seal themselves in the public toilets. Stop everyone else getting in. Right, I've really got to go. I've gone over a bit, but you've been so generous with the super chats today. I feel like I should give you more of a show. But yeah, I really need to go. So I will, I'll hopefully be back tomorrow. Phil will be back at 9:30. Thank you so much for the great comments from the socialites in the chat there. Thank you so much for the super chats. It's so kind. It's so generous. Honestly, it's keeping this channel alive. It's you and your generosity. So thank you so much for that. Give us a like on the way out. That's always good. And until next time, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.